I love cooking. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I thought, what better way to help my community and find ways where I can give back than by doing something that I love. It's a very stressful time for them. And it's nice to see what a home cooked meal can have an impact on.
Welcome to Pilot Projects, Stories from the Jefferson Trust, brought to you by the Sound on Grounds team at the University of Virginia Library. I'm Jason Evans Groth. I didn't really get the phrase, "you are what you eat," until one of my bandmates told me a story. You see, once his partner, who was working in catering, came home after a gig with pounds and pounds of leftover carrots. So many carrots. My bandmate was doing a lot of recording at home at the time. He also owned a juicer. He was, for days, juicing carrots and drinking carrot juice as he made music at home. A few days in, he started to notice a change in his appearance. He wasn't sure, but he thought his skin was starting to turn orange. He thought maybe he was seeing things and kept up his all-carrot juice diet. Then his partner noticed. They thought maybe he was sick. When he went to the doctor about it, one of the doctor's first questions was about his diet. After some conversation, my bandmate mentioned how much carrot juice he was drinking, and the doctor told him that was it, that my bandmate was experiencing carrot anemia. Carrots contain a lot of beta-carotene, which, when ingested in large amounts, can cause your skin to turn orange. The cure? Eating fewer carrots. But this story stuck with me, and it made me think a lot about what I was eating and why. When I was a college student, I ate to live, when I could, what I could. And when I'm stressed, I tend to do the same thing, even today. We talked to some students who are part of the Clean Plate Project at UVA, who work hard to help people in very stressful situations find nourishment and support. We'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Niharika, and I'm currently studying biomedical engineering with a minor in data science.
I'm Belle. I'm a second year and I study behavioral neuroscience. I'm the president of the Clean Plate Project.
A quick note to listeners, we met with these incredible students over Zoom during summer break, and the internet was not fully cooperating with us. You'll probably hear some glitchy audio during this conversation, but we think the content's important enough to present it anyway.
First, can you just give me a brief overview of your project, what you've been working on?
What we do is we provide meals. Families staying at the UVA Children's Hospital or for the Yellow Door Foundation or at the Ronald McDonald House.
UVA Children's Hospital is ranked inside the top 30 children's hospitals in the U.S. and one of the best in Virginia. And the Yellow Door Foundation is a Charlottesville nonprofit that provides long-term lodging for families who have children with especially difficult medical needs. Our guest Niharika explains more about what the Ronald McDonald House does for the community.
The Ronald McDonald House is a house that provides a place to live for families whose children are in long-term care at the UVA hospital. So it's always full and it provides room, board. It provides a place for other children to, meet people their age, because it's very difficult when you have a sibling who's maybe in the hospital, so you have to move around a lot. So it's just a great organization that really takes away the burden of finding somewhere to live when you're coming from somewhere far away to go to a Trauma One center that UVA is. And the fact that we're able to provide food for them helps with the whole process of giving all these resources to these families.
Basically, we just go into the Ronald McDonald House and we cook meals and we pack them all up in boxes, and families are able to come in as they please to get meals. It started as an initiative to give families one less thing to worry about.
Food is often the last thing on a family's mind when they're experiencing high levels of stress during difficult medical situations. Helping families in need during those situations is a big reason why the Clean Plate Project was founded. We asked for more details about its origins.
The Clean Plate Project was officially founded in January 2024 by a couple of fourth-year pre-med students. And the idea came after they had discovered Cooking for a Cause at the UVA Medical School that was exclusive to medical students.
Cooking for a Cause is a UVA group that organizes regular opportunities for students to collaboratively cook meals for the families staying at the Ronald McDonald House in Charlottesville. Cooking for a Cause works to develop additional opportunities for local volunteering related to the intersection of food and health.
They were inspired by their mission to address the broader impact of medical treatment for patients and families through cooking, especially a lot of them had a background in cooking, and food is very strongly tied to their culture. And so they wanted to expand on that idea and also provide a unique opportunity for undergrads at UVA to be able to find service opportunities and give back to the Charlottesville community through cooking. And so they started working with Cooking for a Cause and eventually started the Clean Plate project for undergrads at UVA.
Can you both tell me about how you initially got involved with the project, like personally?
I love cooking. It's one of my favorite things to do. As soon as I was able to cook in a kitchen at UVA, I took that chance, got off the dining meal plan, and started cooking for myself. I saw Clean Plate's listserv message that they put out, and I thought, what better way to help my community and find ways where I can give back than by doing something that I love. I've really enjoyed working with Clean Plate. I also have a more personal connection to the Ronald McDonald House as well. My cousin has been in the hospital on and off, and the Ronald McDonald House has really made a big impact to her and her family. So it's just an amazing way that I can help them since they were able to help me and my family.
My reason for being strongly committed to the Clean Plate project was because I had grown up poor. And I have a lot of memories where my mom would take my brother and I out for a treat after her work, and we could only afford like one thing. I understand the struggles that come with not being able to afford a lot of things. And so it's important to me that while I might not be able to take away the financial insecurities that families are dealing with, I can give them one less thing to worry about and help them get access to quality foods and not just cheap meals.
What type of meals are you guys cooking, and how are you bringing them to the families?
With the Ronald McDonald House, they provide all of the ingredients. They usually come with recipes from online, and we just go in and cook whatever they need us to. With the Yellow Door Foundation, however, we are able to have creative liberty. So we get to choose the meals that we want to cook, the ingredients that we want. And so for that, I know this year, our goal as the exec team is to cook more culture-friendly meals and to just gain experience cooking things that are more in line with what certain families may want to eat.
For the Ronald McDonald House, some of the food that I've cooked is like lasagnas and something that you're able to really cook in a bulk quantity and then split it up because we are providing to a lot of different people in the household. The other thing we do need to pay attention to is obviously is the food safe to eat? That's really important for us and for the foundations that we're working with. So we need to make sure that we're taking proper precautions in our heating process, cooking process, and then also a lot of this food is being cooled down, stored, refrigerated, and then reheated. So that is something that we take into account. Is the food able to be reheated, and will it microwave properly and still taste good? And then personally, I love cooking healthy, tasty meals. So I've been doing a lot of like protein muffins and stuff like that. So one of my goals is to incorporate a lot of healthy ingredients into our food. And we want to provide a meal that's not just some sort of microwave or frozen meal. We want something that's really nourishing and hearty.
I'll ask two questions. One, what is the favorite thing that you've cooked? And two, what's your like dream scenario? What would be the meal that you'd want to bring to everybody?
Sometimes there's more like complex culture dishes. Like if we were to cook like a Filipino dish or something, it might require like a lot more teamwork and everything. I make a really good mac and chili. And so I've actually volunteered at the Ronald McDonald chapter here in my hometown. And so that was something that I cooked, and I got a lot of compliments from that. So I would love to bring that to the Ronald McDonald chapter in Charlottesville. Besides that, I would also love to introduce a lot of like Filipino dishes as well to the families, because that is also something that's really close to me, but it has also helped me in my own communities bring people together and engage community and everything.
I love cooking and eating Indian food as well as a lot of other spicier foods. I would love the opportunity to both bring that in and maybe find some sort of fusion meal that might appeal more to people and help spread that aspect of my culture as well, and see what patients are interested in and their families, what appeals to them, and look especially at their dietary restrictions as well. I grew up with a lot of allergies, so finding food has always been difficult. And I know to me, it always feels very heartwarming when I see someone take the effort and time to learn about my eating abilities and take that into account when they're making a meal. So I would love to do something similar.
You both have mentioned or talked about using food as a way of connection or community building. Can you talk about that? Like, what is it about food that builds these connections?
Well, we're college students, so there's no better way to bring together college students than a bunch of food. But generally, I've just found the process of cooking itself is such a collaborative experience. You get to not just work together, but really be creative in the process as well. It is difficult, I will say. You're handling a lot of time sensitive components. And I think the challenge of that itself is something that brings people together. You need to have some difficulty to achieve past that, have something to connect with. And then beyond that, food, I think just sitting around a table, having that opportunity to connect with one another and have those conversations is something that food really emphasizes. I was actually studying abroad in Spain last semester, and one aspect of their culture that I really appreciated was they call it sobremesa. After any meal, they sit around the table, and it's part of their culture to really just enjoy that time with family and take that opportunity to pull away from any other burdens or stresses that we have individually and share that time with one another. And it was very common in even restaurants and around the dinner table in my host family's house. So I would love to bring that piece of culture back here and to the UVA community.
A lot of my experiences with family and a lot of my favorite memories with people were made in the kitchen, like whether it was washing the dishes or baking a cake or something, just being able to learn together and grow together, being able to pull away as we just focus on the dish and then being able to share that achievement with them is something that's incredibly impactful and meaningful as well, that really helps strengthen the ties.
I can completely agree with this. At my family, it's normal for us to sit with whoever's cooking and just talk to them and play music and have that sort of community building moment as well. How does this program support UVA students?
Hunger insecurity is a growing problem for everyone, and especially with a lot of the stuff going on in the world right now. Grocery prices are rising significantly, and a lot of the main issue that people forget about food insecurity is that it's not just about being unable to afford food, but it's also being unable to afford quality food and quality ingredients that will supplement an individual's overall health and well-being. And so we're seeing that is one of the major issues that a lot of families and even students alike are facing. Through the Clean Plate Project, we provide quality meals using quality ingredients for these families so that they are able to have access to these things that are going to help their health. What we're hoping to do for students is work with the UVA Food Pantry, which does provide resources for students at times, and eventually provide meals for students. Either one of our ideas is to provide meals during finals time when a lot of students are not really eating and are not really focusing on their health. And that's kind of just at the back of their mind.
What have you two personally emotionally gotten out of doing this project, doing this work, both in Charlottesville and when you've worked on similar things in your hometowns?
I think for me, it's been able to get the food and actually, sometimes you get to see the food being handed out to patients, or they'll come in while you're cooking, and it's just really nice to see the smile that it brings to their faces. Their children are often in the hospital, usually for a long-term stay. It's a very stressful time for them, and it's nice to see what a home-cooked meal can have an impact on. Like Belle mentioned, food insecurity is a growing issue, and especially in a lot of areas in the US, it's really hard to come by fresh food and natural products. And then even if you have that, to be able to get the time to actually cook these meals is extremely difficult. So more and more people are going towards fast food or quick eats, microwave meals. And I think that shift is just really putting us down a path where what we're getting through our diet is just not healthy enough to sustain the life that most people want. So I'm really glad we're able to give these families the opportunity to have a home-cooked, nutritious meal rather than relying on something that just won't be as good for both their mental and physical health. I think it makes a huge difference.
Besides like the joy that we're able to bring to patients that we're cooking for, it's been the relief I've seen on a lot of the parents' faces coming in and seeing that they already have a meal for them and even maybe for their child. And that feeling is something that has really grounded me in this work. I feel support is such an obvious concept of service, right? But I feel it's not just about doing something, but just being there for people is important as providing them with something or offering donations. It offers such a change to their mental health, which will help them inevitably as they continue on this path and as they continue having their child be treated at this place. It just allows them to be more present in the moments that they share with people, but also allows them to focus on their self more and to keep going.
Do you think that the impact that something like this has can lead to a culture of more food and health literacy, like why it's important to eat quality ingredients, why farmers markets are cool, like how do you see that intersecting in those ways outside of just the help that you're providing?
This is something that's extremely important to me. Growing up in a household that we did do a lot of cooking at home because a lot of our meals were, a lot of Indian meals. So I grew up in a vegetarian household, and a big thing for me was how can I get enough protein? When you're not eating meat, a lot of your protein comes from lentils and other stuff like that. So that was a consideration for me that I only started realizing that I even need to consider very recently. The amount of food literacy that is present in the US right now is quite low. People don't even know that what they're eating isn't good for them. Even if you look at a lot of the dining halls, especially coming into college, you get the option of pretty much unlimited food, whatever you want, whenever you want it. So it's very easy for students our age to just take a slice of pizza every meal or stack their plate with a bunch of potatoes. And I would love to see our club help engage, especially with the student population, but hopefully have larger scale impacts as well, and help spread just the information about what our diets should look like, where we can get good produce from. Like you mentioned, farmers markets. Around UVA, there are a couple of really great farmers markets that sell fresh produce for considerably low cost. And I would love to integrate that through maybe giving meal prep options to students, potential recipes. We were thinking of using our club members and having club members share personal recipes that they find special to them and special to their culture, and sharing that with the community. And I think just starting that conversation around food and how we can make food healthy, cheap, and time sensitive. I think, especially with the busy schedules we have, making sure we can fit cooking into our schedule and make it something that's fun and engaging rather than another chore is a great way to get thinking about healthy eating.
Do you have any specific stories of families that you've serviced and connected with that you're able to share?
This was actually at the chapter in my hometown in Norfolk.
Belle's audio was breaking up, but she mentioned that this particular story came from a family who had a child who was being treated in the neonatal intensive care unit there.
One of the dads opened up to me about how he had to travel 3 or 4 hours from where he was living to come stay here because this is where his child was being treated, and how meaningful it was that I was taking the time because I did the breakfast shift. And so I had to come in at like 5 a.m. Another thing about the Norfolk chapter that differs from the Charlottesville chapter is I had to buy my own ingredients and everything. So this was coming both out of my pocket and of my own time. And he said it was just really meaningful that I was able to take that time out of my day to help him out as a single father, with his child in the hospital and everything.
If there's somebody listening to this podcast that's a UVA student and wants to get involved, how do you suggest they get involved?
We are open to all people, all levels of all backgrounds and experiences and grades. And this is just a way for us to give back to the community. Maybe do a Saturday shift with a friend. That's something that I did. And it was so much fun just being able to go in and hang out together while also giving back to people. And it's such an amazing experience being able to give this time. There's no limit to how you can help others. Just take a small step and anything helps. Literally anything helps. I think a lot of people think that you have to do something extravagant and grand in order to stand out in an application or in order for your action to be meaningful and worthy of praise. But that's really not true. Anything will help. And that is more than enough for these people, is the fact that you're even thinking about them and then taking time out of your day to give them that attention, give them that support and care. That is just as important as starting a nonprofit or starting a CIO.
CIO stands for Contracted Independent Organization, and the majority of student organizations at UVA are CIOs. This Monday, August 25th, 2025, the day before classes start for the fall semester at UVA, is the 2025 Club Fair. We asked how students could sign up to be part of the Clean Plate project.
So we will have a table at the club fair with a QR code where they can scan it, and they will have like a Google form to attend the interest meeting, and they can come to that to find out more information about what our shifts look like, how you can sign up for those.
We're open to anyone who wants to join. It doesn't have to even relate to your major or your interest. Just if you even just want to come out and hang out and just get to know more people in the UVA community, it's a great way to do that. It's a really fun club, and I hope more people find out about it and find the opportunity to join.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Pilot Projects, Stories from the Jefferson Trust, is a Sound on Grounds podcast. Sound on Grounds is sponsored by a Jefferson Trust grant, as are all the projects featured in Pilot Projects. You can find more Sound on Grounds podcasts at www.virginiaaudio.com/soundongrounds. Today's episode was engineered and recorded by Sarah Bastinelli in the Robertson Media Center audio studio in Clemens Library. It was written and edited by Sarah and me, Jason Evans Groth. The Pilot Project's show cover was designed by UVA alum Karina Valachi. All of the music you heard in this episode was written and recorded by me, Jason Evans Groth, in the Robertson Media Center audio studio. Thanks to Niharika and Belle for sharing their stories with us.